Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coming Up Milhouse. Here is Vera. She watched the episode with us today. It's from season 6, episode 17. It is called Homer versus Patty and Selma.
Homer versus Patty and Selma because Patty and Selma end up lending Homer money because he is not very good with his money.
Nothing's broke except Homer. What's that supposed to mean?
And I'm sure we'll talk about why as we go through this.
Homer.
So, of course, Homer doesn't want Marge to know about what he did to lose all their money. And Patty and Selma decide that they own him now.
Yes.
And start putting him through his paces, and it's pretty good.
Including being a B-plus dog.
That's right. And, the whole Homer rivalry with Marge's sisters gets a lot of play in this. Mm-hmm. And then there's also a fun subplot about the kids at school happen to choose gym class, which I actually quite enjoyed that part. And I'm sure we'll get into that, too, in our lines and stuff, because I know I liked a few pieces of that. So why don't we kick it off with lines? Give me your first line.
We had a deal. Patty and Selma can't come over after 6 p.m. and I stop eating your lipstick. Yes, and then he cleans his teeth because he had Marge's lipstick stained on them. So clearly, both of them were breaking the deal if they had a deal at all.
He'll eat anything, won't he?
I think he will. I think he really will.
He's a relentless eating machine.
I guess that's where Bart gets it, because in this episode he's gnawing on the drywall. What about you?
Alright, so mine's a Homer line, and it's, "Hello, Vegas, give me $100 on red." "Dope! Okay, I'll send you a check." He calls Vegas, places a bet, loses, can't see that he lost.
No.
Somebody on the other line just tells him you didn't get it, and then he's going to mail them a check.
And there was no information exchange. I mean, I guess they could trace his phone number, but you don't have to mail
He's so
a check.
dumb, he mails a check to them. He doesn't even have any proof that he lost.
You know, I mean, as this episode gets into, Homer is not very money savvy at all.
No. What about two?
"Okay, Marge, I'll get along with them. Then I'll hug some snakes. Yes, I will hug and kiss some poisonous snakes." Now that's sarcasm. Because, once again, he has to get along with Patty and Selma in this episode for Marge. Mm-hmm. And he comes to realize that he does everything for Marge, and he would kill for Marge. And die for Marge, too. Mm-hmm. And she just really wants everybody to get along. And that's pretty impossible, especially in this episode, because Patty and Selma really are giving him the runaround and putting him through the ringer, for sure.
That's right.
What about you?
My second line is after Patty and Selma give Homer the money, he's at home relaxing because he feels like the problem is solved. And then they show up unannounced and start to enslave Homer there. But before he catches on to that, he says, "Time to fertilize the lawn. A couple of 500-pound bags ought to do it." And he grabs them.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, well, we should tell Marge." And then he catches on. He's like, "Oh, I can't kick him out."
No, but he does stick their faces in his armpits. And in his armpits. And I think they got a little bit of payback.
Just a little tiny
Just a
bit.
little tiny
that might have
bit.
even informed why they were so hard on him as time went on.
What about your favorite scene?
You probably know.
I bet I can guess.
You probably can. Why don't you just go ahead?
You go for it.
All right. So, Homer gets a part-time job driving a limo to make some more money. And who's his first customer? Mel Brooks. And it's funny because we took a recent trip and we listened to Mel Brooks' autobiography on the way, and it's great. Big Mel Brooks fan. We both love his stuff. He's hilarious. And so it's just funny that we went on a trip and listened to his autobiography, and then we come back and we watch this episode.
And there's
Mel Brooks. And I was like, it's Mel. You gotta love it. And then they did a whole joke about the 2,000-year-old man bit that he used to do, Carl Reiner. But of course, Homer's like, can we do the 2,000-pound man thing? And then Wiggum shows up and he's like, hey, while we're driving, can we do the $2,000 man? You know, they goof it up. They don't know the actual routine.
No, not at all. And like, you know, we learned in the autobiography, it works really well with Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks because they just played well off of each other. It didn't go so well in The Simpsons, but it's still pretty funny. So I figured that was going to be one of your contending scenes, but I also thought you would go with the first scene. So I will go. Did you have it on?
That's my backup.
Your backup? Okay. So I'm going to go with the first scene and throw it in there. The reason that Homer has no money in this episode is because he has become a Wall Street genius. And he's invested all of their money in pumpkins. And it is early October, mid-October, and his stockbroker keeps telling him he needs to sell before the end of the month. He didn't listen. He thinks that his pumpkin stock is it's just skyrocketing through October, and it's gonna peak sometime in mid-January. Wah, wah, wah.
No.
We all know what happens there. So Homer's bad investment got him in some big financial trouble in this episode, and that whole opening scene where, you know, they're celebrating him being a Wall Street genius in Moe's Tavern. They're smoking cigars. Barney forgets to take the plastic off of his cigar and is having some hallucinations. It's just a fabulous scene.
It's great. Homer's like, to success, and the camera pans back and it says Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Peak of January.
Yep.
To success, Halloween.
And the funny thing is, I know we were talking about this episode at the beginning of our road trip because that was near Halloween, and you usually quote the Homer pumpkin purchasing around.
I know the timing
Halloween.
Just lined up perfect.
It really did.
Between
So,
that and the Mel Brooks thing.
Yep. Perfect timing for us to jump back into the regular season reviews after our Treehouse of Horror episode reviews. So, who is your loser this week?
Ralph. Because if you go back to the whole, the kids had to pick their sport they're going to do in gym class, and all the good sports fill up fast. You better get there. And the stampede goes to the gym, and you know, baseball, soccer, they're all filling up. Ralph ends up with tethered swimming.
Yep, and you better get there in time, or you're gonna be in TS.
Yeah, TS for you. Well, Ralph got tethered swimming. He's got to have a line and just swim to nowhere. And I was like, you know, I think I'd rather have what Bart ended up with than that.
It's true. It is true.
Oh boy, what do you got for your loser?
So my loser, I went with Willie because during the sign-up period for all of the sports or gym classes, specialized gym classes, Willie's in the hallway and he's holding on for dear life in the ceiling, but this mob of kids is running past him and he gets pulled into the wave of students and trampled. So I put him down as my loser this week.
Yeah, that policy of picking gym class really kind of born some losers in this episode, I think.
Absolutely. How do you feel about Bart with his extracurricular sport? Do you think he was a winner or a loser or a little mix of both?
A little mix of both because he liked it and was good at it, but it ended up getting him hurt.
Yep.
So he was running from the bullies and tried the Baryshnikov leap over a ravine and didn't make it.
And what about your winner?
I am going to go with the BS Bank of Springfield banker guy. So Homer goes to the bank to try to get an extension on his mortgage, and this dude is like not having it. He looks him up and he's like, you've been turned down for every major credit card, and it says here that in the 3rd grade you tried to walk a dog around by its hind legs like a vacuum cleaner. And Homer's like, that's in there? And he's like, yeah, everything's in this. The guy's like, we're going to foreclose on you if you don't pay it by tomorrow. And Homer's like, well, I'll take the numbers off the side of my house. Well, we'll look for the house with no numbers. I mean, this guy just is like...
He's on.
And Homer's like, well, I'll take the numbers off the neighbor's house. Well, we'll look for the house next to the house with no numbers on it. Okay, you win. So, I mean, the guy practically is a winner because Homer just seceded to him. You'll get your money.
Yep.
And then he goes to Patty and Selma to get the money. Yep. So that dude got his money. Winner.
That's your winner in this episode.
Yeah.
Well, I went with Classy Joe's because Homer's looking through the want ads, which ends up being a fake newspaper, and Lisa points that out. But he's trying to find a part-time job, and then a commercial for Classy Joe's comes on TV, and Homer says to Lisa, well, why'd you turn the TV on? And she didn't, and neither had he. And then there was a bit of X-Files music that played with that. And so I'm going with Classy Joe's because they are pretty clever getting their TV ad to get new hires. Just like magically turning the TV on.
They know who's in debt and needs a job, man.
Their radar is really out there. But then also because, Mel Brooks decided to ride with them, so I put them down as winners.
That all comes full circle.
Yep.
Very good.
That was it.
I like it.
So again, that's season 6, episode 17, Homer versus Patty and Selma. And please feel free to vote below in the comments to see who you think should be winners this episode. You can either go with Homer, Patty, and Selma, or come up with your own winners and losers and share in the comments below. Feel free to make any other comments you'd like to share with us. Give us a thumbs up if you like this review, and be sure to subscribe and watch more episodes of Coming Up Milhouse.
Thank you very much. We will be back again with some more reviews very soon. And until then, Jiminy Chillikers!
Hey, you're Mel Brooks. Sure, I'll give you a ride.
Oh, thank you.
On the way, we can do that $2,000 man thing. You be Carl Reiner, and I'll be Police Chief Wiggum.
Listen, why don't you play Carl Reiner and let me play Police Chief Wiggum? I hate Carl Reiner.